Hi everyone, my name is Sudham Reddy Duba, having an experience in this containerization technology from past 7+ years. Today let's talk about Docker and Kubernetes for development engineers. As a development engineer, writing the code is our first priority. After that, when you want to run your application or the code in a containerization platform, what are the things that we have to learn? Let's talk about that. In the first phase, as part of it, first let us discuss the existing development workflow. As a developer, we need to write the code or we need to develop the code. After doing that, now we need to push this particular code to the code repository. It could be GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, or any other repository. Since we cannot store our code in the local machine and many developers will be contributing to the development process, that is the reason why every developer has to store the code in the code repository. After that, now we have to build the code. Now we have to build the source code with the help of the tool called Maven. Now this particular tool will help us to convert your source code of Java to a WAR file. If you take an example of Java code, now if you want to convert your Java source code into WAR file or a jar file, then Maven will help you on that to build the source code. Now after that, now we have to deploy the code on a Linux platforms or Windows platforms or any other virtual machine. What are the code we have built? Now that particular code has to be deployed on the target environment. Now after deploying the code, now we have to review the code so that we can identify the issues what we have in the existing environment, so that we can take that particular review changes and then we have to redevelop the code or we have to develop a new functionality. So this is a continuous cycle that we are working in the current existing environment. Now we have to upgrade our skills in such a way that as a developer, I need to know how to run my code in a containerized platform. Let us see what are the development workflow we have to learn in a containerized platforms to run your application. As part of that, as a developer, first I need to write the code or first I need to develop the code. Then I have to push the code in the centralized repository like GitHub. And then after doing that, now we have to build the container image. Earlier what we used to do, we have to build the code. Now we have to build the container image. For that, we can use any Docker file. For that, we have to learn how to write a Docker file. Till now, we have wrote the code. You might be working as a .NET developer, Python developer, or Node.js developer and all. After writing the code, additionally, we have to learn about how to write a Docker file so that I can build the image in a containerized platform. If you want to run the container, first we need to build the image with the code what you have written to run your application. That is an additional task what we have to do. And then after the image was built, now we have to push it to the image registry. Example we have as Docker Hub. After the image has been pushed to the centralized repository, now we have to deploy the application as a container by using the image what we have pushed into the image registry. It could be a Docker platform or Kubernetes platform. Now after deploying the code, again we have to review the code or review the application. Once a review was done, if you want any changes to be done, again we have to rebuild the image. And this is the continuous process what we have to do in a containerized platform as a developer. Now this particular entire workflow what I've shown you right now has to be automated. For that we have to use any one of the automation tool like Jenkins, GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps, AWS Code Pipeline, and many more. Now we have to automate this particular process, as well as we need to know as a developer how to write a Docker file as per the security best practices. Now these are the things what we will be learning in the K8S Engineers. Let's see what are those. Now K8S Engineers has designed the program. If you are a developer right now, what are the tools that I have to learn, or what are the concepts I have to learn to be a development engineer on the containerized platforms? Now if you go to this particular tail called Docker and Kubernetes for software developers. If you select that, now we have created a course in such a way that we have course for Docker for developers, K8S for developers, Docker CI/CD, and we have a projects as well. So that you can check some real-time scenarios, how we have to deploy our application as a developer on a Docker platform or Kubernetes platform. In this way, we have simplified the job so that every developer can learn the concept on the containerization technology. Happy learning.